started streaming it if you wanna look on the YouTube.
Do you have an electric car?
No.
But my
Run out of,
thing isn't updating.
run out of battery if you're not careful.
No, she would be fine.
I just bought a new car, but not knowing I was doing this, right? And of course, my 6.5 years at Tigard, it's all on city gas, it's
Yeah.
a company thing, so, I bought a Ford Explorer Premier for my
Fires and Training, meaning this is a public meeting subject to public meeting law, and it will be recorded. Deliberation of issues will only be conducted by board members unless permitted by the chair. Individuals who engage in disruptive behavior that impedes official business will be asked to stop being disruptive or leave the meeting. Additional measures may be taken to have disruptive individuals removed if their continued presence poses a safety risk to the other persons in the room or makes it impossible to continue the meeting. So let's start with introductions. I'll start to my left.
Denise Barrett, non-management law enforcement viewers and posts.
Brian Gillespie, interim fire chief, Portland Fire and Rescue.
Mike Reese, I'm the acting director of the Department of Corrections.
Jennifer Cameron, non-management, formal probation, Lynn Cameron, formal probation.
Carol Deshawn, Oregon Department of Corrections, representing ASME.
Shelby Wright, Executive Assistant, TPSST.
Mike Fletcher, Columbia 911, representing the 911.
Mark Daniel, Chief of Police, City of Mount Angel, representing the Oregon Association of Chiefs of Police.
Casey Cotting, Oregon State Police. Joe Morrow, Oregon Fire District Directors Association. Phil Castle,
Kathy Kaufman, DPSSP, Professional Standards, Division.
Just the soft skill training manager, DPSSP.
Robert Bridge, Policy Committee member.
Jennifer Howell, DPSSP.
Brian Henson, DPSSP. Sam Tang, DPSSP.
Samantha Smith, executive support, DPSST.
And then we'll move online. When I call out your name, can you please introduce yourself? Member Caballero Rubio.
Good morning, everyone. Maria Caballero Rubio, community representative.
Member Lenzen.
Hi, Dan Lindsay, representing the private security.
Member Ruiz Temple.
Good morning, Mariana Reese Temple, Oregon State Fire Marshal.
Member Carragher.
Good morning, Jack Carriger, Oregon Volunteer Firefighters Association.
Member Heppel.
Hey, Chris Heppel, President of the Oregon Fire Chiefs and representing SAM.
And Member Rowan.
Terry Rowan, Sheriff, representing Oregon State Sheriff's Association.
Thanks. And I'm Matt English, Hood River County Sheriff, representing Oregon State Sheriff's Association. Okay. So we will move into meeting minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from our last meeting, October 26th? Are there any corrections, additions, deletions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to accept our minutes.
Audio second.
It's been moved and seconded.
All right, this is a motion to approve the October 26th meeting minutes. Chair English.
Aye.
Vice Chair Barrett.
Aye.
Member Cameron.
Aye.
Member Caballero Rubio.
Aye.
Member Carragher.
Aye.
Member Cotting.
Aye.
Member Daniel.
Aye.
Member Deshawn.
Aye.
Member Fletcher.
Aye.
Member Gillespie.
Aye.
Member Heppel.
Aye.
Member Lenzen.
Aye.
Member Morneau.
Aye.
Member Reese.
Aye.
Member Rowan. Member Rowan.
Aye.
And Member Ruiz Temple.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you. All right, moving into Fire Policy Committee. No update, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
They did not meet, so there's no update.
But we do have a consent agenda item. It looks like a Fire Policy Committee appointment. So entertain a motion to accept the fire consent agenda.
Barrett on her.
Michelle, I'll second.
Thank you.
All right, this is a motion to approve the Fire Policy Committee consent agenda. Chair English.
Aye.
Vice Chair Barrett.
Aye.
Member Adams.
Sorry for my tardiness, but I am here and aye.
Member Caballero Rubio.
Aye.
Member Cameron.
Aye.
Member Carragher.
Aye.
Member Cotting.
Aye.
Member Daniel,
Aye.
Member DeShawn,
Aye.
Member Fletcher,
Aye.
Member Gillespie,
Aye.
Member Heppel,
Aye.
Member Lenzen,
Aye.
Member Morno,
Aye.
Member Reese,
Aye.
Member Rowan,
Aye.
Member Rose Temple,
Aye.
motion passed.
Thank you. Okay, we will move into criminal justice policy committees. And I know that Chair Naomi is not here today, so newly appointed Professional Standards Division Director Kathy McAlpine will give us an update on police policy committee.
Thank you, Chair. Captain McAlpine for the record. We met in November. I say we because at that time I was still a police policy committee member. But at that time, we had 4 administrative closures. The committee reviewed 9. We moved forward with 8. 1 was sent back. In those 4, action was taken, and 4, no action was taken. We also nominated and submitted for the ARC chair, which is Chief Skinner. And our the next meeting is February 22nd. And we anticipate 3 cases that we move forward.
Thank you. And we will move to telecom update. Chair.
Mr. Chair, Mike Fletcher for the record. TPC most recently met on November 1st, and at that meeting, the committee had an extensive agenda. We conducted a review of 2 administrative closures, conducted applicant review for committee member nominations, and the usual program and agency updates. It was exhausting. Our next meeting will take place on Wednesday, February 7th.
Excellent, thank you. And Corrections Policy Committee, so we met on November 7th. We had 3 administrative closures, reviewed 6 cases. I think 5 of them are on the consent today. We also reviewed and approved 259-008-0085 as presented by Jennifer Howell on the curriculum update to the local Corrections Academy. And then our next meeting is on February 13th coming up. So that moves us into the consent agenda D on our list today. So there are consent agenda items A through M. Entertain a motion to accept those.
Daniel, move to accept.
Michelle, I'll second.
Thanks.
All right, this is a motion to approve the criminal justice consent agenda, items A through M. Member English,
Aye.
Member Barrett,
Aye.
Member Adams,
Aye.
Member Caballero Rubio,
Aye.
Member Cameron,
Aye.
Member Carragher,
Aye.
Member Cotting,
Aye.
Member Daniel,
Aye.
Member DeShawn,
Aye.
Member Fletcher,
Aye.
Member Gillespie,
Aye.
Member Heppel,
Aye.
Member Lenzen,
Aye.
Member Morno,
Aye.
Member Reese,
Aye.
Member Rowan,
Aye.
Member Ruiz Temple,
Aye.
motion passed.
Thanks. So next on our agenda is the approval for changes to basic corrections curriculum, but I think we will stand by on that for a minute. And then let's move down to number 5, the private security policy committee updates. Chair Lindsay.
Stand by. Gotta get my notes up. Sorry about that. We met last PSIPC meeting. There was we discussed rule changes to Division 60, Chapter 259, in relation to HB 2527. Is that right, Jennifer Held? And we moved forward the temporary rules. If I could then lean into Jennifer for the report on that.
Thank you. Jennifer Howell for the record. Yes, so the board had approved moving forward with temporary rules, and the private security policy committee moved forward with temporary rules. So temporary rules were filed effective December 1st of 2023, and we proceeded with a second proposed rule filing for additional public comment. That public comment period just ended, so we'll be headed back to the February PSIPC with recommendations for the final permanent rule changes, which you'll see at your April meeting. Thank you.
Is that end of report, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. So there is a modification to the consent agenda. We are going to take the committee appointment off, and we will just be voting on the proposed rule that was just presented. So entertain a motion to accept A on the Private Security Investigator Policy Committee.
Baird on it.
Thank you.
Bottom of second.
Thank you.
All right, this is a motion to approve the Private Security/Investigator Policy Committee consent agenda. Chair English.
Aye.
Vice Chair Barrett.
Aye.
Member Adams.
Aye.
Member Caballero Rubio.
Aye.
Member Cameron.
Aye.
Member Carragher.
Aye.
Member Cotting.
Aye.
Member Daniel.
Aye.
Member DeShawn.
Aye.
Member Fletcher.
Aye.
Member Gillespie.
Aye.
Member Heppel.
Aye.
Member Lenzen.
Aye, thank you.
Member Morneau.
Aye.
Member Reese.
Aye.
Member Rowan.
Aye.
Member Ruiz Temple.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Let's move into the agency updates with Director Castle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Phil Castle for the record. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to be here today, as always. Lots of good news coming out of the DPSST front. Happy to report this February, late February, we'll be testifying in front of the legislature about the results of our 60-person classes and also our partnership with OSP on 3 classes that the legislature awarded us monies to do. So we have 2 60-person classes currently underway. We will be starting the 3rd 60-person class on the 29th, I believe. We have 1 OSP course specifically happening as we speak, and it is incredibly successful at the moment. We have more people on this campus than have ever been on this campus in history right now. I don't know if you noticed, but that parking lot is a little tight. There's not a free space out there, and there's not a free training space out there either. We're very tight, and Joe can attest to this for sure. The great news about this is we went from 7.5 months of a backlog to no backlog. We are currently within statute. We are within the 90-day requirement enrollment period. And we do believe that we have a model that has been developed that is dynamic and that can flex with the market so that will abate a serious backlog occurring again, to an extent, of course. So that's really good news. What's also good news is we just received back a survey from the constituency, from all the law enforcement agencies. There are 208 of them around the state, 135 responded, which is incredible. It's an incredible response rate. Thank you, Sam, for all those phone calls. And in that response, it was a very validating survey. So we got back the data we expected to get back, which is that we do not see and I'm going to just give you high level right now, we do not see a pause in the turnover rate at this time. It's really fortunate that we're able to stay on top of the training. It's really unfortunate that the turnover rate is so high, and there most definitely is a law enforcement employment issue going on, not just in the state of Oregon, but in the country right now. And I will tell you that there are many states in much worse shape than we are. So there is a lot of innovative work being done by a lot of you with recruitment and retention and those kinds of things. But this is definitely a problem that is going to endure for some time. So we all sort of need to brace for that. So although this has been largely successful, this test has really shown us that we can be dynamic and maintain our two guiding principles, which is safety and quality. We still want to turn out the best product we possibly can for Oregon and also to be safe. We don't want to hurt anybody, not our staff, not our students. And those are our two guiding principles, and we believe we are meeting those and still producing at a higher volume. We have found the edges of our limits, though. We found the edge of our facilities. The parking lot is an indicator of the rest of the facilities here. The rivets are popping right off the walls. We had a transformer blow in the dorms yesterday. We're starting to age a bit, not just me, but the facility as well. And in March, we will exceed the capacity of our dormitories. The volume on this campus will be higher than what we can house. So we will have to contract with hotels in order to house some of our folks that probably won't need to access showers daily and things like that. So like our leadership classes, maybe folks that aren't armed. So we're not transporting weapons back and forth to a hotel and so forth. So we're strategizing around that, working with hotels on some contracts and preparing for that eventuality. You know, we've got a plan, but we are seeing the edges of our facilities. We are short on covered training space. Yesterday I was down in the village, and there are scenarios going on side by side. There's not much space between them. They're outdoors. You know, unfortunately we had decent weather yesterday, but when it's not good weather, it's a little bit uncomfortable for our cadets, and that's something we'll need to work on. Currently, all state government right now is working, all the cabinet agencies are working with the governor's office and preparing to discuss our policy option packages, our potential policy option packages for 25-27. So we're having conversations about the things that I'm talking to you about now and working closely with the governor's office on that. I want to call out very specifically that our success in this moment could not have been done without the partnership of the Oregon State Police and Superintendent Cotty. Very grateful for that. Thank you very much. And they've been incredible partners, and I'll just, not only in helping us with people and getting the training done, but we are having trouble getting enough cars to train. We were short on cars, couldn't get them from DAS. They were unable to procure them. So Superintendent Cotty provided us 6 cars, which filled the gap, and we now have enough. You'll see some OSP cars racing around the track, which is kind of cool, right? Just kind of an indicator of the partnership, which is great. Another update, speaking of partnerships, we are working very closely with the Oregon State Fire Marshal. Thank you, Fire Marshal. And we have a new program manager for our fire program. Kayla Ballrot has taken over as the fire program manager. And we are shifting some of our strategies with supporting fire around the state, shifting where some of our trainers are, some of the equipment is, to better support the fire service around the state. And Kayla is going to be working very closely with the constituency as well as partnering with the fire marshal. So we're really excited about that kind of renewed partnership there. We just had a roundtable recently with the Oregon Fire Service. We held that down in Sun River. We wanted to get some feedback, wanted to hear how we could be more helpful, more supportive, and it was a great event. We got some really great feedback, both positive and some constructive things that we could do a little bit better, and it's going to help us shift our strategy in the state to support the fire service. Let's see, you all should have seen the grants for biennia already. You should have had a list of those grants distributed to you last time, I believe, is that right? There are a lot of grants on there, and we are shifting the way that we are approving grants. We're doing that in a more centralized way at the leadership table. Obviously, with the expenditures that DPSST is having, running this higher volume of students through the academy, there is going to be less funds available to award grants. So we're going to be approving and looking at those grants. We still want to support our constituency. We still want to support the training that's out there to the best of our ability. But we will be looking at these grants in a different way, and we'll be approving them at the leadership table, at the leadership level, collectively. So there's a sort of an overall strategy coming from the agency on that. Is Brian? He is. Brian, I'm going to turn this over to you to talk about the elephant in the room.
I came up to the table in case there's any questions, but the elephant in the room that Phil is speaking of, excuse me, for the record, Brian Henson, Deputy Director, DPSST. The elephant in the room is annually the board has a task of evaluating the performance of the director. And so as a body, since we have several new people here, your job as a body is to set the policy that we administer as an organization, and that policy is around both the certification side and the regulatory function that you serve, as well as the training side and the approval of the curriculum that we teach. And so that evaluation process is to evaluate the director's ability to implement the policy that you have put into place. So typically what we have done is we have sent out to the board members a questionnaire. You guys fill the questionnaire out, that is routed to the chair. The chair then brings it all together into a singular document, has a conversation with the director, and then that information is forwarded to the governor as part of the annual requirement for the board. So just wanted to make sure that you all understood that. I'll be working with Shelby, as will Kathy, to make sure that that information gets sent out to you, that it's able to be received back, and then by the next board meeting, we'll have that all synthesized and be working with Matt to get that off to the governor's office. So make sure you didn't have any questions. If you did, turn it back over to Bill.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, couple more items. So first I want to say, you know, sitting on this board, I like coming to this meeting. I really enjoy coming to this meeting because I've always seen really great deliberation, really great discussion. I think everyone who sits on this board takes this very, very seriously, and it's kind of an honor to be able to be in here and watch these proceedings. And it's a big commitment. All of you have significant roles back at your agencies. You have a lot to do every day, and there's a lot of reading that goes along with this. There's a lot of preparing and a lot of responsibility with this. So I just want to say from DPSST, thank you all. And there are a couple of us that are leaving, and I just want to say how much we appreciate your service, Carol. And I have to read a little blurb and embarrass you just a little bit. I'm sorry, but so Carol's from Coffee Creek Correctional Institution and an AFSCME representative. She took a promotion as captain, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. And she's going to have to step down from the board because of that, which is totally understandable due to her promotion.
Yes.
So I want to say both congratulations and thank you so much for your service here.
Thank you.
Board. Yes.
I am very sad to be leaving both CPC and the board because I've gotten a lot out of it over all the years I've been here.
And I think so is everyone. So thank you. Also, Kieran Ramsey, FBI, also took a promotion and will no longer be able to serve on the board or police policy committee. So I don't know if he's here, but if not, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And Mr. Chair, pending your questions, that is all I have.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
Matt, I have a question. How are we doing with instructor support for this enlarged classes, and are you able to meet the needs of the organization?
That's a great question. I'd love to tell you that it's perfect. It's not. It's not by any means. What we have been very successful in hiring instructors. Surprisingly successful in hiring instructors. We historically have relied on an agency part-time trainer model. We would get part-time trainers coming from a lot of different agencies that specialize in particular areas, and it's a great model, honestly, because we had so many of them, we could plug them in the places where they were experts, and it made it pretty easy. Under our current situation, obviously, those APTs are not available. They are categorically not available. They are working back at their agencies, they're working tons of overtime, they're working mandatory overtime for, again, understandable reasons. That has made us shift our model. We're transitioning over to a full-time model. There's a couple complications with that. One, finding the full-time employees. Two, when you had 400 APTs and each one of them had a little specialty and you can plug them in, now you've got 30. Where do you get all that expertise? Can you hire one person with 10 different specialties? You can't, right? So it's a little bit challenging. We still have to rely on APTs where we can. We're having to cross-train a lot of those FTEs and figuring out how to have, 7 classes going on at one time and having one person on campus with a particular specialty and plugging them in the right place. It's quite a challenge. And thank you to CPE and Dr. Utzi's team for weaving that. But I would say it's going well. It's going really well as it can be, but we're still adapting.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Mr. Chair, Mike Fletcher for the record. Director, a couple things. I want to commend you. A Herculean task, and you are blazing the trail, and I'm very proud of you, and I'm sure all of us are. It's a breath of fresh air. I'm going to congratulate you and then ask, can you do more? Because seriously, I mean, you're doing great on the law side, but I wonder about the corrections and I wonder about the telecom folks. We have backlogs of hirees waiting to get into academies.
It's a great question. So I'll talk to corrections first, and then I'll talk to telecom. So that has been a topic of discussion a lot lately.
I'm sure.
Yeah, corrections, it is unusual. About 4 months ago, we were having trouble filling a class. We could not fill a corrections class. It was really interesting. We'd have a ton of no-shows. We'd be running a class half full, and that is not efficient. We can't do that. So we ran a half class to sort of, having a small backlog is healthy, right? Because that allows you to fill a class and then run, with maximum efficiency. Our venues are designed to hold X amount of people, and if we can fill those venues, it's an efficient use of our resources. So we are on top of BCL. We feel like that we are running a sufficient number of classes to keep on top of BCL. Telecom, on the other hand, has grown. And currently, the dean, Dr. Stacy Utzi, is working on plugging in 2 more telecom classes. Telecom is unusual because we're funded in a different way. We are funded from the Office of Emergency Management. And we have already exceeded that funding that we've been provided. So we are going to run these anyway because it needs to be done, and they will look to go back in an e-board to try and recover the funds for that. But we are plugging in 2 more telecom classes to try and whittle down that backlog as we can. And I'm going to work very closely with Aaron at Odom on the 25-27 budget. We're going to talk about telecom and what we may need to do a little bit differently going forward.
Thank you.
Questions?
Yes, this is.
Go ahead.
Sorry. This is Maria Caballero Rubia, and my question is about the survey that you conducted on the vacancies across the state. And I was interested in learning more about, are the vacancies, the number of vacancies has it reached a level where it's creating a risk, a safety risk for communities at that community level, at jurisdictional level? And then also, you mentioned that there was some work being done on that. Could you talk to us a little bit about what that work is? I know that in the past, part of the problem with vacancies had been the length of time it took to get people hired and then trained and that kind of thing. Is that part of the problem, or are there other things going on? I know post-pandemic there were lots of issues. So I'm just curious to see what, if anything, will be done with the information you gathered as well.
That's a big question. I'll do my best to answer that. And ma'am, if I forget any part of your question, please remind me. So what are we doing with the data? We will, once we have the data aggregated, I literally have a meeting about that this afternoon to talk through the data. We have data scientists here at the academy that work on our Center for Policing Excellence, and this is their job, is to analyze the data in the market in the state of Oregon, as well as the United States. So we will be doing a lot with this data. We will be sharing this data. We work closely with our constituency and our big law enforcement groups like the Oregon Sheriff's Association, the Oregon Association of Chiefs of Police, and so forth. And those two organizations are working diligently to try and solve this law enforcement employment program. So your first question, I believe, was, are there public safety risks to the communities out there? I don't want to answer categorically, but I will say that a high turnover rate is absolutely a risk. And I'll give you some reasons why that is. One is there was a hiring surge in Oregon in the early 90s in law enforcement. So there was a ton of people who joined law enforcement in the early 90s, which means that population right now is eligible for retirement, and they are retiring, right? They are retiring in large numbers. I'll give you an example. Portland Police Bureau right now, in 2024, they have around 90 vacancies right now that they're working very hard to fill in, but they also have shared with me that they have almost 150 people eligible to retire this year. Wow. And with a force of around 800, that's a big number. That's a high percentage of their population that's eligible to retire. Also, about 5 years ago, pre-pandemic, the average tenure of a law enforcement officer was from 15 to 20 years. So most people stayed as a career, as a profession, they would stay in law enforcement and retire. Now that average has dropped dramatically, way faster than our culture and society was prepared to deal with. It's now 5 to 7 years is the average. Anecdotally, I've talked to departments, smaller departments, and in Oregon we have 3 tiers. So we have tier 1, which means you have 100 officers or more, which there are only 12 of those in Oregon. We have tier 2, which is I think 99 to 25 officers, and tier 3 is 25 and below. The majority of our departments in Oregon are tier 3s. So most of the departments in Oregon, of those 208, I think it's like 67% or so, are tier 3 organizations. Anecdotally, it is not uncommon to have the majority of the officers there with very little experience. So 3 years or less experience. There's a risk there. Experienced officers obviously have less risk and so forth for the community. They know more, they're more experienced, etc. Because of this high turnover rate, the experience level in those departments are dropping. A detriment and a benefit at the same time is what we've discovered. We have a high level of tier 1 officers that are leaving and going to tier 2 and tier 3 departments. Now that is a risk to our larger cities because those tier 1 experienced officers are leaving and going to tier 2 and tier 3 agencies. The good news for the tier 2 and tier 3 agencies is that is benefiting their experience level. But that's sort of new data. We didn't know that before. And that certainly has a risk. You asked, what is being done about this? At high organizational levels, I'm aware of OSSA and OACP, those two large organizations. They are expending a lot of resources and energy working together on and working nationally to figure out retention ideas, to figure out recruiting ideas. You know, they're recruiting out of state. They're offering different shifts. Some are even going as far as to offer dividends for childcare. Like, there is a lot of innovative ideas that is being coming up with in the state of Oregon. With all tiers of agencies are working very closely together to try and figure this out. So, again, it's a national issue. What we are doing to try and help as well is we've just instituted a survey of our students. So we are surveying our students as they come through about what's important to them. We're trying to figure out, like, employment-wise, like, what are the important things to you? You know, previously we know it was, you know, it was kind of an honor to serve and I'm sure it still is for most, but now it's a little bit more career-oriented. And also work-life balance. The shifts are important. The ability to be home on the weekends is important. Childcare is important. Like, we're trying to find out those specific things and supply that out to the agencies so that they can utilize that information and develop their strategies. So there's a lot being done on this front. And by the way, it's not just law enforcement. This is public safety wide. This is a problem in fire. Like, fire is also struggling in this same space. Like, it is not unique to law enforcement, but certainly in this case, it's very visible. And I hope I answered everything. If I didn't, hold me accountable.
Yes, thank you so much for the response. I'd be interested to see if there is, if we as a state do anything more to maybe create some sort of a working group to maybe come up with ways to assist the smaller agencies or jurisdictions with their work. And I really like your surveying the students that are coming through. That's really a great idea in trying to meet what their personal needs are to stay in the profession. So I'm looking forward to more information about that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Other questions? Thank you. So, and I just wanted to comment to Director Castle, appreciate that 60-person class has made an immediate impact. It's incredible how much of a difference, or I think our last one that we are sending, it was within 60 days. So that's phenomenal, how quickly that made an impact. So thank you so much to you and your team here for all your incredible, diligent, hard work to make that happen. And really appreciate it. And then, Carol, congratulations on your promotion. Gonna miss you. We've probably been on the CPC about the exact same amount of time, right?
I did 2 full terms and then this 3 years. It's almost up now, so.
Yeah. Well, appreciate all of your dedication to
Thank you.
the CPC and the board.
I hope to find something else to come down here and get involved with.
All right, if there are no more questions, we'll move back on the agenda to E, and presentation for approval on the basic corrections curriculum.
Good morning, Julie Collinson, Center for Policing Excellence Manager and Assistant Dean at the Academy. For the record, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'm here to ask for your approval for the changes to the basic corrections curriculum. Just a little overview. We started meeting, we created work groups beginning in May of this last year and met for 6 months to evaluate and review the current BCL curriculum, which hadn't had this much of a thorough review since 2012. While the curriculum was still relevant, we found areas in which we could have that curriculum meet and exceed the levels of which it currently stands, as well as making sure it meets the standards of OAR and of statutes as well. Some of the changes that we recommend are listed on pages 2, 3, and 4. Some of the changes that we proposed through these work groups that may have had a larger impact were reviewed with the Oregon Jail Command Council as well, and then put forth through the CPC, and who approved it in November unanimously. Is there any questions that you might have in regards to some of the proposed changes?
All right, hearing none. I think we need a vote on this to approve moving forward, so thank you, Julie, appreciate it. So be looking for a motion and a second to approve the presented changes on the basic corrections curriculum.
Carol Vachon, so moved.
Thank you.
Cameron, I'll second.
Thanks. Been moved and seconded. Shall
This is a motion to approve the proposed changes to the basic corrections curriculum. Chair English.
we? Aye.
Vice Chair Barrett. Member Adams.
Aye.
Member Caballero Rubio.
Aye.
Member Cameron.
Aye.
Member Carriger.
Aye.
Member Cotting.
Aye.
Member Daniel.
Aye.
Member Deshawn.
Aye.
Member Fletcher.
Aye.
Member Gillespie.
Aye.
Member Heppel.
Aye.
Member Lenzen.
Aye.
Member Morneau.
Aye.
Member Reese.
Aye.
Member Rowan.
Aye.
Member Ruiz.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Okay, if there is nothing else for the good of the order, we will adjourn with our next meeting on